The deep, rumbling thunder echoed endlessly from the boundless thunderclouds above. The sound was so intense, it felt like the fury of heaven and earth, a terrifying and awe-inspiring force. Every so often, violent bursts of lightning would cascade from the clouds, slamming into the dark sea below with a deafening roar. As they struck, towering waves would rise, while silver lightning slurry spread across the black waters, accompanied by a relentless, ear-piercing hiss. Beneath this endless expanse of thunderclouds, countless figures darted like locusts from the horizon. They carefully evaded the bolts of lightning that lashed out from the sky, swiftly heading deeper into the sea's core. Among them were Lin Dong and his companion, blending into the crowd. As Lin Dong moved forward, he glanced up at the thick thunderclouds above, sensing the terrifying power hidden within. According to his estimation, even a death mystique stage expert would be reduced to ashes if they recklessly charged into those clouds. This place, used as a reincarnation powerhouse's cave mansion, clearly held its share of mysteries. Brother Lin Dong, the energy fluctuations ahead seemed to be getting even more violent. Lingshan's large eyes fixated on the distant sea, where flashes of silver light flickered. Lin Dong nodded slightly. The deeper they ventured into the heavenly Thunder Sea region, the more ferocious the energy became. Danger lurked in every corner, and the smallest misstep could result in them being buried at the bottom of the dark sea. "Be careful," he warned. In the distance, the sea had taken on a silver sheen. Even from afar, Lin Dong could see the frequency of the lightning strikes increasing dramatically. Beside him, Lingshan's expression grew more serious. As a member of the Sea Demon clan, she was particularly sensitive to this kind of violent energy. She understood all too well that those lightning bolts carried devastating power. One misstep, and the outcome would be nothing short of catastrophic. Both Lin Dong and Lingshan heightened their vigilance, even as they quickened their pace. After about 10 minutes, they finally entered the region where the lightning strikes were most intense. Boom, boom, boom. As they entered this treacherous area, Lin Dong could truly feel the terrifying nature of the heavenly Thunder Sea region. Lightning cascaded down from the clouds above with such frequency that it made his scalp tingle. Screams erupted around them. Some of the figures in midair, trying to evade the lightning, were struck by massive bolts, their agonized cries echoing as their bodies, protected by powerful primordial energy, were still turned into smoking blackened corpses. One by one, these charred figures fell from the sky, plunging into the dark waters below. Bubbles rose as their bodies sank into the abyss. The sight of the falling bodies sent shivers through the surrounding crowd, who quickly became even more cautious. They had come for the cave mansion, not to become charred remains sinking to the bottom of the sea. The swarm of people slowed their pace, each person enveloping themselves in layers of protective primordial energy while activating various life-saving artifacts. It was as if everyone had their defenses cranked to the maximum. Lin Dong and Lingshan also moved carefully to avoid the descending lightning bolts. Suddenly, Lin Dong's gaze sharpened, and he quickly looked up. His expression changed as he noticed that the black thunderclouds ahead had started to form a vortex. Within it, lightning flickered madly. "Damn, it's a thunder slurry waterfall," Lin Dong muttered under his breath, his voice tinged with urgency. Boom. Just as Lin Dong's voice faded, the vortex of thunderclouds burst open, and a brilliant cascade of lightning slurry poured down like a heavenly river. It was as though the sky had been torn open, and a gigantic rift was unleashing pure destruction. Boom. The torrent of lightning slurry engulfed the area below in an instant. Nearly 100 figures were swallowed by the deluge, vanishing without so much as a scream. Within moments, they were entirely obliterated. Bodies, bones, even their essence spirits. Nothing remained but a void. A collective gasp escaped from the survivors. Even the most seasoned among them couldn't suppress their horror at the sight. "Run! There's another thunder slurry waterfall forming above us," a terrified voice shrieked from the crowd. Everyone's heads snapped up in unison, and sure enough, the thunderclouds overhead were also beginning to swirl into another vortex. "Move now!" Lin Dong reacted swiftly, grabbing Lingshan. His wing of the azure dragon flared to life, and in the next instant, he shot forward like a streak of blue light. Just as Lin Dong darted forward, a torrent of silver, galaxy-like thunder slurry cascaded down where he had just stood. In an instant, dozens of figures were engulfed and disintegrated into nothingness by the thunder slurry. Over here too. Damn it, it's the thunder slurry waterfall cluster. Run. Terrified screams rang out from not far away. As the crowd looked up, they saw that the thunderclouds above had begun to swirl. Streams of silver thunder slurry, as thick as waterfalls, rumbled down from the sky, bringing with them a devastating force. These thunder slurry waterfalls descended with terrifying speed and covered an enormous area, spanning hundreds of feet. If anyone was caught under them, escape would be impossible. As the thunder slurry waterfalls fell, chaos erupted across the sea. Countless powerhouses fled desperately, eyes glued to the sky, terrified that one of those deadly torrents might rain down on their heads at any moment. From a distance, the scene was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Countless massive thunder slurry waterfalls pouring down as if the sky itself had torn open. Only those caught in the middle could truly appreciate the fearsome power they held. Lin Dong, clutching Lingshan, transformed into a streak of azure light, dashing through the chaos. His face was grim. He could feel the sheer destructive force within the thunder slurry waterfalls. Even with his powerful body, a single misstep would result in serious injury, and in a place like this, injury often meant death. Brother Lin Dong, look at those 9 Nether sect people. Lingshan's voice suddenly broke through his concentration as she pointed ahead. Lin Dong followed her gaze to a distant group moving swiftly across the sky. To his surprise, they seemed completely unbothered by the thunder slurry waterfalls. At one point, a waterfall even crashed over them, but they emerged unharmed. It seemed they had a way to defend against the thunder slurry. Narrowing his eyes, Lin Dong noticed a faint silver glow surrounding the group led by Peng Hao. The aura felt strangely familiar. It's the silver tower key. A sudden realization flashed through Lin Dong's mind. His eyes brightened, and with a quick movement of his hand, the silver tower appeared. Channeling his primordial energy, the tower trembled and a faint silver shield expanded, enveloping both him and Lingshan. Boom! As soon as the silver shield appeared, a vortex formed in the thunderclouds above them. A thunder slurry waterfall crashed down, enveloping Lin Dong and Lingshan entirely. Lin Dong got hit by the thunder slurry waterfall. Good riddance. The silver tower key won't be destroyed by the thunder slurry, so let's go get it. Move. Not far from the waterfall, a group of figures that had been watching Lin Dong closely suddenly burst with excitement. Seeing him caught by the waterfall, they immediately moved to search for the silver tower key. Whoosh! But just as they sprang into action, an azure streak shot out from the thunder slurry waterfall. Lin Dong and Lingshan emerged, completely unscathed. Impossible. The group hoping to profit from Lin Dong's misfortune froze in disbelief. As the azure light streaked past them, Lin Dong cast a mocking glance their way and smirked. Watch your heads. His words barely finished when the group instinctively looked up, eyes widening in horror. A brilliant flash of silver light greeted them as another thunder slurry waterfall descended, engulfing them completely. Who would have thought that the silver tower key could protect us so effortlessly in this heavenly thunder sea region? Lin Dong muttered to himself, feeling a surge of relief. With this, he no longer had to worry about the deadly thunder slurry waterfalls crashing down unexpectedly. Still, the casualties must be staggering, he sighed inwardly, knowing that nearly half of the powerhouses attempting to cross the heavenly thunder sea region would be stopped by the relentless waterfall barrage. This place was every bit as dangerous as its reputation suggested. Despite his musings, Lin Dong had no time for sympathy. With a powerful flap of his wings, he increased his speed, shooting through several more thunder slurry waterfalls as he headed deeper into the heavenly thunder sea region. The deeper he ventured, the more the sea region revealed its fearsome nature. Lightning storms rained down endlessly from the sky, their immense power wearing down many of the other powerhouses. However, thanks to the protection of the Silver Tower key, Lin Dong passed through unhindered. After nearly half a day of swift travel, his pace finally began to slow. At this point, the thunderclouds above him had transformed from a dark, ominous black to a brilliant, dazzling silver. Bolts of lightning pierced through the sky, shooting down toward the depths of the ocean below. At the very center of this awe-inspiring sight, a colossal pillar of lightning towered into the sky. Lin Dong's gaze was fixed intently on the massive streak of lightning. Within its dazzling glow, he could faintly make out the silhouette of a colossal cave mansion. This scene was exactly identical to what he had witnessed within the Silver Tower. Clearly, the cave mansion concealed within the lightning was his destination. The reincarnation cave mansion. The lightning seemed to cascade down from the end of the thunderclouds, its vast range spanning 10,000 feet. In its presence, everyone felt as insignificant as ants, as if the work before them was crafted by divine hands. With a hint of awe in his eyes, Lin Dong stared at the spectacle. Such a feat, he reckoned, would be impossible even for the super powerhouses who had stepped into the revolution stage. Is that the cave mansion left by the reincarnation powerhouse? Lingshan asked, her large eyes filled with curiosity as she looked at the cave mansion, partially obscured within the sea of lightning. It should be, Lin Dong nodded slightly. As he raised his eyes, he noticed other figures standing on the sea surface besides the factions from the Nine Nether Sect and Xinyan Palace. This sight made Lin Dong's heart tighten. It was no surprise that these two groups arrived quickly. They possessed the protective Silver Tower keys. But those other people lacked such protection, yet they still managed to arrive not long after. Their strength was indeed impressive. These individuals had remained low-key on the previous islands, but it was now clear that they were the true powerhouses. As Lin Dong observed the strong figures that had arrived ahead of him, Pang Hao of the Nine Nether Sect also glanced his way, flashing a faint smile. It was as if he had forgotten the trouble he had caused Lin Dong 3 days ago. But Lin Dong met Pang Hao's friendly gesture with a cold look. He had already experienced Pang Hao's cunning. There was no way he believed the man was willing to let bygones be bygones. Lin Dong knew that if Pang Hao had the chance, he wouldn't hesitate to strike, ruthlessly and without mercy. Ah, brother Lin Dong, you've come quickly. We were just worrying about how to open this cave mansion if a key was missing, Pang Hao said with a grin, undeterred by Lin Dong's cold response. Lin Dong glanced at him, uninterested in idle chatter. He cut straight to the point. How do we open the cave mansion? Hearing this, the eyes of all the surrounding powerhouses locked onto Lin Dong. Although they had reached the cave mansion, they could only watch if Lin Dong and his group refused to act. Haha, no rush, no rush. Let's wait a bit longer, Pang Hao responded with a faint smile, a peculiar glint flashing in his eyes. Lin Dong's brows furrowed as he cast a glance at the Xinyan Palace group. There, a woman in a white dress, Lu Xiangshuan, stood motionless. The radiant silver light cascading from the sky formed a faint halo around her, giving her an ethereal and holy appearance that was almost mesmerizing. Lin Dong felt his mind drift for a moment before snapping back to attention. His gaze hardened as he looked at Lu Xiangshuan once again, now filled with caution. This woman was no simple character. Brother Lin Dong, there's no need to rush. Now is not the best time to open the cave mansion. Please wait a little longer, Lu Xiangshuan said, her beautiful face showing a faint smile as she turned her head. Lin Dong nodded. Although he wasn't sure what they were waiting for, he didn't press further. He pulled Lingshan back a step, silently channeling his primordial energy within, ready to respond to any sudden changes. Seeing the three of them remain still, the other powerhouses exchanged confused glances but did not ask any questions. They knew that if Pang Hao and his group wanted to enter the cave mansion, they had to open it first. Once it opened, the rest could follow and fight for their share. Eyes met across the sea's surface, and the atmosphere gradually settled into an eerie silence, broken only by the distant rumble of thunder. Compared to the earlier turbulence, the depths of the heavenly Thunder Sea region seemed almost tranquil. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. As they waited, more and more powerhouses arrived from the distance, their rushed figures appearing one after another. Most of them seemed rather battered, likely having faced hardships within the thunderstorm. The sound of wind tearing through the air echoed as figures flew in. Observing the growing crowd, Lin Dong couldn't help but marvel at how many people had been drawn here by the reincarnation cave mansion. Even after enduring the thunderstorm, the number of arrivals remained overwhelming. Every powerhouse that arrived directed their gaze toward the cave mansion hidden within the lightning, eyes gleaming with greed. As more powerful figures arrived, the growing commotion became evident. Faint murmurs of impatience echoed, urging Lin Dong and his companions to open the cave mansion, clearly eager for the adventure ahead. Lin Dong, however, ignored these demands, keeping his eyes half closed, appearing as though he was resting. He maintained this calm demeanor for nearly half an hour, during which the number of gathered experts swelled to an astonishing level. Most of them had reached the life mystique stage, as this seemed to be the minimum requirement to survive the lightning storms. The noise from the crowd continued to grow. After a long while, Pang Hao finally raised his head slowly. Surveying the large number of experts that had gathered, he couldn't help but grin, his smile carrying a hint of malice. "It seems we're ready," he murmured softly before stepping forward under countless watchful eyes. Turning to Lin Dong and Lu Xiangshuan, he chuckled. "It's time. Shall we proceed? There's not much to do, just bring out the silver towers." As soon as he finished speaking, Lu Xiangshuan nodded slightly and raised her hand. A small silver tower appeared in a flash. Seeing this, Lin Dong hesitated briefly before retrieving the silver tower he had obtained. Once the 3 silver towers materialized, Lin Dong felt numerous greedy and heated gazes locking onto them. Although everyone knew that the cave mansion would open to all, it was widely understood that those holding the keys would likely gain certain advantages or guidance inside. This head start was crucial in a treasure hunt. At this moment, Lin Dong had no time to be concerned with those envious stares. As soon as he brought out his silver tower, it began to tremble, and faint thunderous sounds resonated from within. Whoosh! Suddenly, a brilliant silver beam shot out from the silver tower. At the same time, beams from Pang Hao and Lu Xiangshuan's towers also shot out. The 3 beams intertwined in the sky and, with a sharp whoosh, penetrated the mass of lightning ahead. Buzz! As the silver beams merged into the lightning, ripples began to spread along the previously calm lightning barrier. A deep rumble of thunder echoed, accompanied by a wave of destructive energy, causing many onlookers to pale and cautiously step back. The thunder grew louder, and a glowing line suddenly emerged from the lightning barrier's edge. This line rapidly extended, transforming into a radiant pathway surrounded by lightning. At the path's end was the distant reincarnation cave mansion. Creak! As the pathway stretched towards the cave mansion, a massive stone gate, nearly 1,000 feet high, began to slowly open under the glow of lightning. Countless eyes, burning with anticipation, were fixated on that opening gate. From within, an ancient and wild aura surged forth like a tidal wave. The reincarnation cave mansion was finally open. Boom! The instant the mansion opened, it was as if a fuse had been lit. The eyes of countless experts turned bloodshot, and the sound of the wind being torn apart filled the sky. Like a swarm of locusts, figures shot forward, racing through the lightning passage and towards the opened stone gate. Lin Dong clenched his fist, quickly stowing the silver tower into his cosmic bag. His gaze also heated up as he stared at the cave mansion. With a glance at the distant Pang Hao, he noticed the eerie smile still lingering on his lips as he watched the surging crowd. "Be careful once we're inside," Lin Dong whispered to Mu Lingshan, narrowing his eyes. Only when he saw Pang Hao and the others make their move did he rush forward as well. Lin Dong and Mu Lingshan dashed down the radiant path, their eyes fixed on the massive stone gate. The ancient aura emanating from it had an irresistible pull. "Let's go." Lin Dong licked his lips, and with a flick of his wrist, the heaven-burning cauldron appeared in his hand. Without further hesitation, he and Mu Lingshan charged through the gate together. The moment they entered, the brilliant silver light stung Lin Dong's eyes. He could feel the spatial fluctuations around him, and shortly after, a sharp tremor from his devouring ancestral talisman, a sign it had detected danger. Lin Dong's half-closed eyes snapped open, his vision clearing. In the distance ahead, he saw countless figures made of lightning standing like statues. In their hands were bows of lightning, and on the strings, bolts of thunder already crackled with destructive energy. Boom! Lin Dong's pupils contracted as the army of lightning figures released their arrows. Arrows of lightning filled the sky, creating a thunderous assault as if an enormous storm had descended. The space warped under the intense pressure, and the very air seemed to explode. This sudden and overwhelming attack caught everyone entering the cave mansion off guard. They had expected to find treasures, but instead, they faced an army of thunderous beings. Watch out! Despite the surprise, those entering the cave mansion were not weak. Sharp, piercing cries quickly sounded, and in the next moment, countless bursts of primordial energy erupted like volcanoes. Thwack! Thwack! The lightning arrows poured down like a torrential rain. The leading 100 powerhouses, enveloped in robust primordial energy, were pierced almost instantly. Thunder coursed through their bodies, and before their essence spirits could escape, they were obliterated by the relentless lightning, leaving only blood mist behind. Screams of agony echoed in the air. Lin Dong watched, horrified, as he quickly realized why Pang Hao had waited for so many strong individuals to enter together. Pang Hao had known that even if they managed to enter the cave mansion, they wouldn't be able to overcome such formidable defenses alone. These powerhouses were nothing but cannon fodder. Lin Dong's gaze fixed on the distant Thunder Army. Those beings were completely shrouded in lightning, with no discernible aura, yet they radiated a terrifying thunderous power. They weren't real humans but entities formed from pure lightning, constituting a formidable thunder army. Hide! Lin Dong grabbed Lingshan, and the heaven-burning cauldron flew out. They quickly hid inside it, which then shrank to the size of a palm, emitting a protective crimson glow. Bang! 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 Just as Lin Dong and Lingshan entered the cauldron, the rain of lightning arrows struck. Dozens of figures attempting to resist were turned into blood mist in an instant. Their efforts were futile against the overwhelming number of lightning arrows. Clang! 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 The shrunken heaven-burning cauldron wasn't spared either. Lightning arrows pounded on it, producing clear metallic sounds, sending ripples across its surface and shaking it violently. Lin Dong was startled inside, relieved that he hadn't tried to block the attack directly, which would have been disastrous. Outside, the screams continued. The lightning arrow barrage filled the air with blood mist, claiming nearly half of the foremost powerhouses. As the blood mist gradually dispersed, the surviving powerhouses looked horrified. The cave mansion seemed more like a death trap. Creak! While everyone was in shock, the distant Thunder Army drew their bows again. Lightning crackled, indicating another terrifying assault was brewing. Charge! Don't let them attack again, or we'll all die here. An angry shout rang out amid the flickering lightning. The people here were no ordinary individuals. Though initially stunned by the attack, they quickly recovered, their anger boiling. If they endured another wave, the casualties would be even greater. Charge! Powerful primordial energy erupted as countless figures surged forward. They unleashed their formidable martial arts, ripping through the Thunder Army's ranks like sharp blades. The roars of thunder echoed across the ancient, battlefield-like area as the Thunder Army clashed with the intruding powerhouses. Let's go! Lin Dong and Lingshan swiftly emerged from the heaven-burning cauldron, joining the battle to break through the Thunder Army and reach the cave mansion's depths. As they entered the thunder ranks, flashes of silver surrounded them. Figures wielding thunder spears emerged, their forms cloaked in lightning, their features obscured, yet exuding relentless power. Lin Dong's body surged with green light as he punched forward, instantly shattering several of the glowing figures in front of him. However, as these figures exploded, they transformed into threads of lightning and scattered. What startled Lin Dong was that instead of dissipating, these threads of lightning merged into the remaining figures. With their infusion, the other lightning figures became noticeably stronger. What a strange thing! Seeing this, Lin Dong's heart tightened. He now realized how troublesome this army of lightning figures was. Killing them didn't seem to have any lasting effect. In fact, the more he destroyed, the stronger the surviving figures grew. If this continued, they would all eventually be worn down and perish on this lightning battlefield. We can't stay here. Let's go. Lin Dong turned and called out to Lingshan in a low voice. Instantly, his entire body glowed with green light, and 4 dragon-shaped light patterns emerged on the surface of his skin. Abandoning the fight with the lightning figures, he forcefully pushed through the horde with raw power. The experts in the area, most of whom had sharp eyes, quickly noticed the peculiar nature of these lightning figures after Lin Dong did. Without hesitation, they too followed his lead, and the sound of bodies cutting through the air echoed as they forcefully broke through the formation. However, the army of lightning figures seemed to sense the change in tactics and responded with even more ferocious attacks. From time to time, miserable cries could be heard as the battlefield grew more chaotic. Lin Dong and Lingshan worked together, weaving through the lightning army like streaks of light, their momentum unstoppable. There's spatial fluctuation up ahead. We're almost out. Lin Dong's heart stirred as he looked ahead. At last, the endless army of lightning figures thinned out, and in the distance, a slowly rotating silver ring of light appeared. That was the true gateway to the cave mansion. Lin Dong, watch out. Just as Lin Dong's gaze locked onto the silver ring, Lingshan suddenly cried out. He turned to see 10 towering, radiant figures, clad in lightning armor, suddenly emerge from the surrounding lightning army. Each one wielded a thunder spear, their powerful aura sweeping towards him in a deadly formation, aiming for his vital points. These armored figures were much stronger than the ones before, their strength clearly on another level. Boom! But just as the thunder spears were about to strike, a black coffin lid swept through the air, unleashing a wave of black energy that clashed heavily with the 10 spears. The sound of metal colliding echoed, and a fierce shockwave rippled out, forcing the 10 armored figures back several meters. However, Lingshan was also shaken a step back, and lightning flickered across the coffin lid she wielded. Let's go. Don't get tangled up with them. Lin Dong's eyes narrowed as he took in the scene. These armored figures were as strong as those at the great completion of the Life Mystique stage, and they were unafraid of death. If they were scattered, the remaining lightning figures would only grow stronger. Without hesitation, Lin Dong grabbed Lingshan's hand and dashed through a gap that had appeared ahead, soaring through the air like a great bird, heading straight for the silver light ring. You're quick, Lin Dong, but we'll be the ones to scout ahead from here. Just as Lin Dong was about to leap into the silver ring, a mocking voice echoed from the side. Immediately, the sound of rushing wind followed as a fierce force shot towards Lin Dong's back without warning. Pang Hao! Lin Dong's eyes flashed coldly at the familiar voice. Clenching his fist, 8 dragon-shaped light patterns appeared on his arm, and he spun around, throwing a powerful punch. Boom! The air seemed to compress and explode under the force of his punch. A powerful blast of green dragon energy erupted from Lin Dong's fist, colliding head-on with the incoming attack. Bang! A low explosion rang out in midair, and the violent ripples of energy forced back several nearby armored lightning figures. Using the momentum, Lin Dong swept Lingshan with him and drifted backward, falling straight toward the silver ring. Haha, sorry, but we don't need your help anymore. As Lin Dong descended into the ring, he turned and laughed at the approaching group from the Nine Nether sect, his voice filled with mocking ease. With that, he and Lingshan vanished into the silver ring, leaving Pang Hao's twisted expression behind. Chase them! Pang Hao's eyes flashed with malice as Lin Dong entered the ring first. With a cold snort, he led his group of men in a hurried pursuit, following Lin Dong into the light. Behind them, more and more experts broke through the battlefield, all surging toward the silver ring. As Lin Dong plunged into the ring, he felt a powerful spatial distortion. Silver light filled his vision, blinding him. Lin Dong's eyes snapped open, and the scene before him immediately came into focus, causing a brief moment of disorientation in his gaze. What lay before him was an expansive stretch of land, vast and boundless. Scattered across the terrain were numerous clusters of palaces, though most had crumbled into ruins. Yet, despite their dilapidated state, the sheer scale of the ruins was a testament to the grandeur and magnificence that once flourished here. The entire landscape had a bleak, desolate hue. A sense of decay hung heavy in the air, mingling with an ancient aura that made it clear. This land had long been devoid of life. Lin Dong stared in astonishment at the sight before him. Clearly, he hadn't expected this mysterious cave mansion to be in such a ruinous state. It didn't seem like a place where a smooth succession had taken place. Instead, it felt as though a great catastrophe had struck, laying waste to everything in its path. Could the owner of this cave mansion have been the Lord of Thunder? Lin Dong muttered under his breath. Just because someone possesses the Thunder Ancestral Talisman doesn't mean they are the Lord of Thunder. The ancient past is separated from the present by countless ages. During that time, the 8 great lords fell into slumber or entered reincarnation for various reasons, and the 8 ancestral talismans found new owners. The owner of this mansion was likely just one of those who, by chance, acquired the Thunder Ancestral Talisman. Just like you, came the voice of Yan, echoing within Lin Dong's mind. Lin Dong nodded slightly. Though the owner of this mansion must have been a formidable powerhouse of their time, they were still likely no match for the likes of the ancient Lord of Thunder, a true titan of the past. Brother Lin Dong, is this the mansion you mentioned? It looks so shabby. Could there be any treasures here? Lingshan, standing nearby, looked around with wide eyes, her face scrunched in disappointment. Lin Dong chuckled. Let's take a look. A cave mansion of this scale should have something valuable left behind. With that, he leaped forward, leading the way, his pace noticeably slower than usual. As he soared across the sky, his gaze continuously swept over the ruins of the palaces below. As they moved forward, Lin Dong began to notice traces of fierce battles scattered across the landscape. It was clear that a great conflict, or perhaps even a war, had once taken place here. Could this have been a bloody clash between 2 superpowers? Lin Dong speculated. Although he didn't know the history of this mansion, its former strength must have been formidable. After all, a powerhouse who owned an ancestral talisman was considered top-tier, even in the ancient past. Yet what baffled Lin Dong was the audacity of any force daring to challenge someone with an ancestral talisman. Thoughts raced through Lin Dong's mind as his eyes continued scanning the ruins below. Suddenly, a familiar sensation tugged at his heart. There was something about this scene that stirred his memory. Had he seen something similar before? Yes, in the Great Wilderness Monument within the Great Wilderness County of the Great Yin Dynasty, that ancient sect. Lin Dong's expression grew serious as the realization dawned on him. He now understood why this place felt familiar. The atmosphere here was eerily similar to the one within the ancient sect he had encountered in the Great Wilderness Monument. Moreover, what shook Lin Dong to his core was a chilling similarity between the two, the presence of an ancestral talisman. One place had the devouring ancestral talisman, and this one had the thunder ancestral talisman. Could this be the source of the calamity? Was something hunting down the forces that possessed the ancestral talismans? Lin Dong's advancing figure slowed to a stop, his eyes wide with shock. A deep sense of dread began to rise within him. In a somewhat dry voice, he murmured, "Yan, you've realized it, haven't you?" Yan's voice remained calm, though this time there was a faint sigh. Was it those alien demons? Lin Dong took a deep breath, asking the question he dreaded. Indeed. Though my former master sealed the space-time rift, many alien demons still managed to infiltrate this plane. While most were eventually eradicated by the combined efforts of the great powers across the realms, some managed to go into hiding. The ancient sect you saw within the Great Wilderness Monument was destroyed by these alien demons. This cave mansion likely met the same fate. These alien demons understand the power of the ancestral talismans, which have the ability to annihilate them. So, anyone who possesses an ancestral talisman becomes a target for elimination. As Lin Dong heard this, cold sweat broke out on his skin. How terrifying were these alien demons, to be able to silently wipe out forces of such magnitude. Are there still alien demons in this world? Dong clenched his fist slightly. They're probably still out there. And those alien demons seem even harder to deal with now. Their ability to stay hidden is terrifying. No one knows what they're really up to. Yin paused briefly before speaking again. Dong clenched his fist, then slowly relaxed after a moment, letting out a bitter chuckle. Only now did he realize that possessing an ancestral talisman was a heavy burden. It seemed that in the future, he wouldn't just have to guard against the human powerhouses trying to steal his talisman, but also those hidden alien demons lurking in the shadows. Over the years, Dong had gained some understanding of these alien demons, fully aware of how dangerous they were. If one of them marked him as a target, the consequences would be disastrous. If you want to avoid this trouble, just get rid of the devouring ancestral talisman, Yin said calmly. Hearing this, Dong was momentarily taken aback, but then he grinned. His dark eyes sharpened with determination as he laughed. Anything that falls into my hands isn't going anywhere. No matter who it is, trying to take something from me, Dong, won't be an easy task. As his voice trailed off, Dong's young face suddenly turned fierce. After all, he had fought his way out of that small Qingyang town over the years. Who had he ever been afraid of? Alien demons? So what? One day, he, Dong, would become so strong that even they would fear him. Yin remained silent, but Dong could feel a sense of approval emanating from the ancestral stone within him. Dong, look ahead. Lingshan's voice suddenly rang out beside him. She pointed forward with her small hand, indicating a ruined plaza up ahead. Faint silhouettes could be seen lingering there. Dong's gaze followed her direction, and his eyes narrowed slightly. A surge of green energy flickered within him. He turned to Lingshan and said, "Be careful," as he began to slow down, eventually halting in midair above the crumbling plaza. As they drew closer, Dong realized that nearly 1,000 figures were seated cross-legged on the vast, ruined plaza. But these figures were long dead, their bodies covered in dust, and they looked as withered as dried corpses. Hovering above, Dong's expression turned grave as he observed the scene. All of these people were facing south, one arm raised, as if they had joined forces to fend off something. But judging by the state of things, it seemed their efforts had failed. Dong pursed his lips. For nearly 1,000 powerhouses to unite and still meet such a grim fate, one could only imagine how terrifying the alien demons that had attacked this cave mansion must have been. Dong, someone's coming from behind, Lingshan said suddenly, glancing toward the rear. The sound of rushing wind echoed as several figures entered the cave mansion, their movements swift. The newcomers arrived rapidly, and within 10 breaths, nearly 100 figures had gathered. Their eyes were soon drawn to the bizarre scene before them, and they paused near Dong, their gazes filled with shock. Although they didn't know what had happened here, it was clear that the situation was extraordinary. Just a bunch of corpses. What's so interesting? Someone in the crowd grumbled impatiently. With a wave of his sleeve, a violent gust of wind swept across the plaza, instantly reducing the 1,000 figures to dust. Teach, no treasures here. Some of the powerhouses muttered in disappointment as they looked at the now empty plaza. Huh? There's still some bodies left? Someone suddenly exclaimed in surprise. At the far end of the plaza, 18 withered figures remained seated, untouched by the wind. Despite the passage of time, their bodies had not decayed. There must be treasures here. Eyes lit up as some of the powerhouses spotted the undisturbed bodies. The fact that these figures had resisted the ravages of time suggested they had been incredibly powerful in life, and surely they carried valuable items. Driven by greed, about a dozen figures darted toward the 18 withered bodies. Dong's gaze locked onto those 18 figures. For some reason, a sense of unease crept into his heart. His eyes flickered briefly before he suddenly grabbed Lingshan and retreated rapidly. Boom. The moment Dong withdrew, the 18 lifeless figures abruptly opened their sunken eyes. Dark, sinister flames danced within their hollow sockets, and those flames exploded outward in an instant. The dozen figures who had rushed forward were instantly consumed by the black flames. In the blink of an eye, they were reduced to ashes, their agonized screams echoing through the air. Boom! The 18 withered figures slowly rose to their feet.